Most people have seen the ice bucket challenges for ALS awareness all over social media. But how many people have actually seen what it is to live with ALS? Join NB12 this Monday evening for an in-depth look at what it is to live with this debilitating disease as we do our part to increase ALS awareness.
Government signs a majority share transfer with CWC. The Prime Minister fires back at Andre Rollins. The Customs Union slams poor working conditions, plus a Bahamian cultural icon honored. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Bonnie Toot and NB12 starts now. Topping news tonight, 7 months after Prime Minister Perry Christie announced that Cable and Wireless agreed to transfer 2% of its shares in BTC back to the Bahamian people, the deal has been finalized. CWC CEO Phil Bentley and BTC CEO Leon Williams called it a significant step in BTC's history. Jasmine Brown reports.
This afternoon, Christie and executives at the telecommunications company called it an historic event for BTC and the Bahamian people.
It's now time, I think, to look forward to make what we dreamed a reality.
Bentley says it's a groundbreaking agreement that's good for BTC and the people of the Bahamas. CWC purchased 51% of BTC shares in 2011. Christie and Bentley announced in January that CWC agreed to transfer 2% of its shares in BTC to the Bahamian people to be held in trust. The trust will be managed by the BTC Foundation. Today, Bentley presented a check in the amount of $1 million to the foundation, which will also hold all dividends and income from the shares. Bentley admitted that reaching an agreement took some time as all sides came in with opposing views.
Yes, we had differing views, but I can tell you over those 2 years, all the discussions and negotiations were conducted with the highest level of respect and professionalism.
Some critics have dismissed the deal as a face-saving agreement as it would not result in Bahamians regaining control of BTC, something Christie had promised on the 2012 campaign trail. However, Christie says it represents a fulfillment of his election promise to regain a majority of BTC's shares.
Our country begins today with having accomplished a mission that we set out to achieve, where I dare say Bahamians did not believe we could do it. Many believe we shouldn't even attempt to do it. And you quite rightly pointed it out, where on so many occasions people editorialized and saying, why don't you stop wasting your time? You know this can't happen. It is true that we are dealing with many complex issues that involve decision-making of the kind that impacts multinational companies, huge assets on the part of people who decide to invest in our country. And for us to continue to guarantee moving forward and upward, we have to take the mantra in our motto, moving upward, forward, upward, together.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Prime Minister Christie also responded to Fort Charlotte MP Dr. Andre Rollins' scathing criticism in the House of Assembly, saying he will not be distracted by the aspirations or political position of the former Gaming Board chairman. Christie was out of the country when Rollins declared that the country needs new political leadership and that he is tired of hearing the Prime Minister quote Bible scripture. Well, Christie told reporters today he chose not to read what Rollins says because he didn't want to get angry.
I chose not to because I wanted to be dispassionate in my approach to him, and I did not want to make myself angry as a result of what I read. I heard he made some reference to me speaking the Bible.
During his contribution to the VAT debate, Rollins accused Christie of using the majority of his VAT communication to threaten backbenchers for their dissenting views. The Prime Minister said he anticipates that in time there will be a movement within the Progressive Liberal Party.
Andre Rollins is a young Bahamian. I was once that in public life. I'm a young Bahamian who so to speak, lost the nomination as a result of my political position. And so I understand that there should be flexibility on the part of leadership and understanding on the part of leadership. I know that logically, young men of courage and courage of conviction, they know how democracy works. That if they feel there should be a change of leadership, either they inspire persons to run against the current leader or they run themselves. So I anticipate that in the fullness of democracy in the Progressive Liberal Party, there will be activity and discussions and so forth and so on. But listen, it is what it is, and the country has to move forward, and I'm not going to be distracted by the aspirations or political positions of a member of Parliament who has a fierce independent spirit. I was once that myself.
Earlier this week, Rollins said he believes his firing as gaming board chairman was a political stunt and dismissed suggestions that he's leaving the party. Well, Christie also confirmed today that the amended gaming bill will be tabled in the House of Assembly on Wednesday. However, he admitted there is still a lot of work to be done, including determining how much government will tax numbers houses.
It is such a complex matter in terms of the rates and because though we have put accountants in there, we are not certain as to what money is made in these businesses, and it's going to take a full external audit, and so therefore we have to create a regime that transitions into.
In July, the Nassau Guardian obtained a copy of a draft of the gaming bill. Under that bill, web shops would be permitted to legally engage in cash betting transactions with domestic players only. In June, Christie said the revised gaming bill would be debated following the budget debate. However, several bills have been debated and passed since then. He said today officials are now fixing the rates.
Whatever we do now is subject to verification that this is the right thing to do. So, I mean, if I came and say I'm taxing 5%, it might turn out to be 20%, it might turn out to be 10%, but the point is that it's a very complex process that we're superintending now. We're at the stage now where we are fixing the rates, what the taxation, that every single investigation that the gaming board does has to be paid for, and this is a culture where they're not used to paying anything. And so that's what's being put in place, and I'm going right back to it now, and I'll probably meet throughout the weekend, and we'll get there.
In other news, following weeks of sporadic outages throughout New Providence, the Bahamas Electricity Corporation warns that customers will continue to experience disruptions in power supply this weekend as the corporation addresses challenges with its generation network. BEC said in a statement this afternoon, crews are conducting emergency repairs on 2 engines, and they hope to have at least 1 engine repaired by tonight. However, it will take additional time to complete repairs on the other engine. BEC assured customers, though, that steps are being taken to control the frequency and duration of those power outages. The Bahamas Customs, Immigration and Allied Workers Union is demanding that government address poor working conditions at the Air Freight Department. Union leaders say conditions are unbearable and customs officers are fed up. Simone Davis reports.
As we were asked to leave the premises, BCIAWU President Sloan Smith showed the deteriorating conditions of the building. Customs officers were seen fanning themselves, trying to keep cool because there has not been any air conditioning in half the building during the hot summer months. Smith said although these employees want to work, he instructed them not to because as union president, he refuses to sit back and allow them to be subjected to those working conditions.
If you were to look in there, you would have seen that the bathrooms that these officers have to work in is in the most deplorable conditions. The scent itself tells you something. Are you going to ask persons to leave their home, to come into this environment in the workplace, and to use bathrooms where the ceiling is exposed? Women, man, this is women now. There's holes all about in the walls, and we've gotten reports of rats and snakes coming through those same cracks you saw on the wall. So no, we are not going to allow, as a union representing their interests, the workers to be subjected to that kind of thing.
Smith said union members met with Customs Comptroller Charles Turner on Thursday, who said he contacted Environmental Health to deal with the hazardous conditions of the building, which is now beyond his control because it is an environmental issue. Executive Vice President of BCIAWU Cordero Edgecombe said the conditions that the staff are left with is unbearable and the government should get involved immediately.
So this morning we make a plea to government, we make a plea to the executives of the department. Please, please, do what is right to make sure that these persons have the environment and the safety to perform the task of collecting and protecting the revenue of this Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Edgecombe said the union would ensure that these issues are resolved immediately. Following a report that 6 unions filed trade disputes at the Ministry of Labor, Minister of Labor Shane Gibson responded to those unions by reminding them of Section 77 of the Industrial Relations Act of the Statute Laws of the Bahamas. Chapter 321 states that no employee shall go on strike and no employer shall declare a lockout, and no union member of the executive committee or other governing body of the union shall call a strike or declare a lockout in consequence of a trade dispute while proceedings taken in the relation to that dispute are pending before tribunal or the Court of Appeal. Smith noted that there is no case before the courts for any of the 6 unions that filed trade disputes. He said he believes Gibson is trying to intimidate the staff, which will not work.
The minister needs to be honest with the Bahamian people, be honest with himself first. As a trade unionist, that's what he claims to be. Be honest with that. There is no issue before the court with not one of those unions mentioned. If he takes the draconian approach and goes against the very law that he's quoting, then the only thing that should be able to happen to that office, he should be made to resign.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.